Welcome back to another one of our vacation decorating builds. As you can see, we are in the Smith household. We are working on Johnny Smith's bedroom. One of the things that I kind of have always thought about when it comes to this house, especially with Strangetown being so small, is that this is the original Curious house. It would make sense because there's the 4 bedrooms upstairs, 2 of them aren't used, one of them looks like it used to be decorated kind of thing. And so I try to keep that in mind, especially when it came to like floor coverings and things like that. I started to like change the carpeting and things like that, but I was looking around the house and I'm like, none of it is consistent. And if this is a generational house, i.e. like multiple generations at multiple points have lived here, we really wouldn't see consistency, because maybe somebody decorated one room, or maybe somebody punched a hole in a wall and they had to paint it and they couldn't find, you know, the same color, that sort of thing. So I did end up leaving it the blue, even though I don't really care for the blue. I decided to go ahead and leave it. I mean, at this point, why not? I've actually been pretty good about not changing too many details of the rooms themselves and just kind of going with what was there. I think I really only changed Angela and Lilith's room just because there was just no space and they didn't really make all that much sense, but this one does to me. It looks like an old frontier house that's got weird angles and stuff, and so it makes sense. But for Johnny, some of the things that I had in mind that I wrote down beforehand that I could just kind of think of off the top of my head, you know, he's got a hero complex, clearly. You know, he's friends with Rip and Ophelia. He wants to be a knight in shining armor kind of thing, and he's into sports, was kind of what I had. But when I actually looked at his character, it did mention, like, he either wants to be the knight in shining armor or he would like to be riding in a sports car. So I wanted to have kind of like a lot of fantasy posters, knights in shining armor, cowboys, that kind of thing. I really thought that he would be into like the Henry Puffer set that was made for Sims 4 but has been converted. He also gives me that kind of, and he was gonna be a doctor energy, like from Scream. So kind of wanted to have that. I also think that he definitely would have been into boy bands. He's got kind of the haircut, and I know someone, I can't remember who on Tumblr, but did, like as a joke, because all of the Sims 2 teens, like the teen boys, all kind of had that same outfit with like the baggy shirt and jeans. So they did a picture of all of them together as like if they were in a boy band. So I want to include that, and sports cars, just pretty typical teen. I think Johnny really leans into that, like kind of avoids the fact that he's an alien sort of thing. You know, he had an alarm clock. Not all of the Sims did, so you know, pretty punctual. He also had a phone in his room, which this is the first room that I've had a teen have a phone in their room, so I wanted to include that for sure, but also maybe he would have a cell phone, maybe his parents trust him a little bit more, maybe he's a little bit spoiled. I know I didn't have a phone in my room when I was that age. Definitely not in the 2000s when this came out. What else? He did have a plant. I don't think I put too many plants in his room though. I feel like that just didn't make sense. I did a little bit of cut in the bedding here. I thought I had Henry Puffer bedding, but I didn't, so I went with the Zelda bedding. Again, it fits with the aesthetic that I kind of wanted for him. And also he had a stereo, so boy bands, music, it works. Now, of the rooms that I made, this one's definitely the least playable, because I end up putting a one-tile desk in that little alcove, which of course he can't access, but the point of these has never been to make playable spaces. It would be an interesting exercise to kind of do that, but they've been done a million times before. Like, I just wanted to have fun. This one, even though I had kind of a good idea of what I wanted to do, I wasn't so sure of how it was going to turn out. Also, as I started looking at the house more and more, I thought about trying to have like mismatched furniture to lean into the idea that this house has been here for a long time. Maybe they reused furniture that, you know, was his uncle's or maybe his grandparents even, that it's just kind of been there and it moves around. But I really liked this dorm furniture. It kind of just fit. So I used that bed and also the end table. I almost used this same desk that I used for Bucket Grunt, but I really just don't like the shadows on it, so I don't. And I actually used some Maxis furniture in here as well, that little green chair. I just like the swirls on it, I think it fits. I was gonna give him kind of a gaming chair, but he just doesn't seem like a gamer to me. Like, he seems like he'd be more outdoorsy. That was another thing, is trying to figure out, like, what exactly I thought he did in terms of sports. I've always pictured him in my head as very, very tall. I don't know why, I just always have. So I was thinking maybe basketball or soccer. I knew I had already done, Dirk Dreamer is kind of into soccer, so I was hesitant to do another soccer-esque room. But I also didn't know what else I was going to go with, but in the end I think I did the best that I kind of could with that. I keep wanting to put glasses in everybody's room. I don't know if it's just because I should have had glasses as a teenager and nobody caught on to that, and so, like, subliminally, like, I want to put it in all of their rooms, but I really, really do. He actually does end up getting glasses. But I think he's the only one so far. Glasses are good for you, okay? If you're having trouble seeing or you have headaches, you probably need glasses. I had no idea. I thought the world was just blurry. I do briefly grab games. Those will go away. But yeah, otherwise I really didn't have to download too much for him. A lot of this I'd already kind of downloaded already, because in addition to downloading specific things, I'm also just going on mass downloading sprees of, like, modern CC, trying to rebuild the folder. I've mentioned it before, but I used to have a modern CC folder, and then I deleted it, saying, yeah, I'm never going to go back, I'm only going to do medieval CC. Well, we all see how that ended up, and instant regret. I regretted it like 3 days after I did it, but I made sure to, like, fully delete it, not recoverable. I didn't want to go back, but I did immediately. As I'm sure you all know, we all go through the phase of, like, no, I'm turning over a new leaf. Or, like, where you decide you want to start over fresh with your downloads. I did that a lot more before, obviously, Sims 4 came out, because even when Sims 3 came out, there was enough Sims 2 players, it was still pretty active, that it was kind of safe to do that. Now, it's like, if you delete something, you might never be able to get it back, because the creator might have deleted it, the links might be dead, so I'm very careful. Oh, that was another thing, he did have a picture hanging on his wall. It was a child's drawing, it kind of looked like alien-esque, so I did want some alien inspiration here. So I specifically downloaded the alien abduction lamp for him. I'm very happy about it. I wanted to include a lava lamp too, but the alien abduction lamp, it's everything. If you turn that on, there's actually a llama and it, like, abducts it. It's great. But as with most of them, I just left, like, the normal ceiling light there too. He really doesn't have too much space, which was kind of a problem because I had a lot that I wanted to put in his room. So I was like, what do I do? And I also wanted to give a nod to, like, the friendship that he's built up with Rip and Ophelia. So I was like, well, maybe he's got some kind of drawing stuff, because maybe he's into drawing too. They needed to have something in common. Ophelia, I've already done her. I'm going to do her voiceover next, because I did her room right after I did his, and yeah, I'm really excited about her room. But yeah, so that was the Henry Puffer stuff. They have that in common as well. But yeah, I mean, he's got friends. You gotta have something in common. Oh, I used that bookshelf too. I forgot. Yeah, so I used some Maxis items, not too many, and that technically that one tile desk is an edit of a Maxis mesh. I love that little basketball clothes hamper. I do use that. I think I go with basketball with him. I was actually, when I was talking about sport, I was trying to remember what sport I went with him. I'm pretty sure I went with basketball, just because in my head he's so tall, like, that's what makes sense. We have all the Henry Puffer stuff, all of it. I try to sort as I go, like when I'm grabbing things out too, like things that I absolutely know need to be in the room, things that are just like generalized clutter that don't necessarily have to be in the room. That sort of thing. So here I had piles, like I wanted a pile for sports cars, which I actually didn't end up having too much stuff for that, which was frustrating, but I just couldn't find like model cars or like posters of cars was even really hard to find. which surprised me. I thought there was more, but there's just really not. And then there was like a pile for sports stuff, pile for alien stuff, that kind of thing. And given that I was kind of building a headcanon that he'd been in this room probably his whole life, like this was probably his nursery, this was, you know, this is where the Curious family has always lived, and then came the Smith family house when PT moved in, but I wanted to kind of include maybe some younger kids' toys, because, again, just 'cause you get older doesn't mean all that stuff magically vanishes into the abyss. You still have stuff hanging around. I still somewhere have a crate with, like, old porcelain dolls in it. Like, you end up keeping certain things. And if you don't, your parents do. I love that bear. I really wanted to use it for Ophelia's room. I'm just going to spoil it now. I didn't get to, but I really did want to. Yeah, some of this is more for my Uberhood, but you never know. I also haven't been able to include any pet stuff just because it was base game. So yeah, edited just to cut out some of the shopping. As you can see, we got quite a bit here, not as much as some of the other Sims. I really wanted to try to at least get one plant in here, because he did have that fake plant. I think I put a tiny plant in here, but he doesn't really get quite that type of plant. He just doesn't seem like the type. I think, if anything, like that was just in the room, and maybe his mom put it in there or something. Yeah, I want to do everything kind of scooched. I did remove the door to the bathroom, because it was just too awkward having it there. Like, it wasn't working for me. Yeah, here's me trying to squeeze a plant by the laundry bin, and I'm just like, nah, it's not gonna work, is it? Which is sad, because I did want it in there, it just wasn't working. Wasn't working. So all I can think is, that's gonna be in the way. Do I leave it? I feel like I move it. Yeah, see, I move it. So yeah, he gets these little succulents, which are actually part of the Henry Puffer set as well, so. I at least gave him some plants. It's a tiny little nod, tiny little nod. I'm doing my best, doing my best. Also, since he had, like, kind of the White Knight aesthetic, I wanted to keep these protest items. I felt like it made sense with him. Put kind of like a trunk there. There's a lot of things like I thought maybe, and then I was like, no, this doesn't work. Because like that suit bag, I was like, well, if he's playing sports, maybe he would need like a nice outfit for like awards nights or things, but I really like this pillow set. I know it's not really made for a single bed, but I made it work. You know, that was literally, that little car is the only sports car that I was really satisfied with. Because, yeah, there's a little drivable ones, but, like, that's not what I wanted for it. Like, I wanted, like, a model car, and I wanted posters. But I just couldn't, maybe they existed at one point. Like, I found screenshots that people took, but they were not, like, made into posters. And I was like, maybe I can make these into posters, but I always get wary of doing that because I don't know if people want me to do that, and I don't have time to like ask people right now for permission and things like that, so I just didn't, but I might try to do that at a later date. Because I think it's something useful, like muscle car posters that feel like that's just such a basic thing that should exist. Why is this? I swear I moved that alarm clock because it shouldn't go over there. That makes no sense. So yeah, I wanted the headphones just because he did have that boombox originally. This is me being indecisive with which sport still. I had the basketball thing, but I'm like, just because I have the basketball thing doesn't mean I have to cut everything out. I think I go with running and basketball. And maybe some baseball stuff too. It's just about pulling it all out basically and editing. I could create collections folders, but I'm still downloading so much stuff that I feel like I'm gonna wait until I'm like not going on such major downloading sprees. Oh, and the golf clubs, because in the back they have that little golf course thing, and so it made sense that he probably golfs. My mom tried so hard to make me golf, not because she thought that I would like it or because she was into golf, but because she's like, no one golfs, and so your odds of getting a scholarship are very high because no one else golfs, so why don't you go after that scholarship? I was like, seriously, Mom? Seriously? It was very silly. Yeah, I wasn't liking how this was looking. I remember that. So I was like, I need to move this car. I wanted to keep it because it mentioned sports car specifically. I'm like, I need to keep a car in this room. I decided he needed some shelving because there's so much that I want to put in these rooms, and it's just really challenging because they don't, I didn't want to put a closet in, and even when you put a closet in, that doesn't always give you this kind of space that you want or need, because then everything's put away, so you can see it anyways. So now I'm kind of grabbing all of that Henry Puffer stuff, because I don't want to put every item in, but there's quite a bit. There's puppets, and there's wands, and there's a ton of posters too. The book set, I wanted to include the books. Little Sixam owl, little My Sims, and scarps, and yeah, a lot of it wouldn't go on the shelves, and rather than fiddle with it, I'm like, I'm just gonna delete it. I was also sorting things into piles at this point of like, well, I think this should go in the desk area, this should go in more of the study area. Because he's got kind of zones in his room. He's got kind of that little kind of closet-y looking corner. He has his desk area, he's got that little study area with the bookshelf. And then there's like the set down area where his end table is, probably where he sets everything down when he walks into his room. So there's kind of all of the spacey sort of items, as well as awards. I did have some fitness items too. Again, if he's really into sports, he probably works out. I got rid of the bigger display items. I kept the baseball, not necessarily because I think he's into baseball, but just because it fit nicely on the shelf. And the football. I also put a lot of clutter in his room because he is a messy sim, so I was very excited about that. I'm like, I can absolutely just put everything on the floor. I deleted the kettlebell only because it was really tiny compared to everything else. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And we're back to the desk. It's hard with the really tiny desks. You always want to put so much on them, and it's just like this teeny tiny little desk. I ended up expanding the kind of study area onto the carpet, like right in front of it, because it just felt right. Because sometimes you're not going to want to sit in the chair, so you'll lie down right in front of it. I did go ahead and put that little flag in there. I don't necessarily see Johnny Smith as like a gay sim, but I do definitely see him, again, as just very supportive of pretty much everybody. So he probably goes to Pride events and picked it up. And since he's a messy sim, I wanted to like try to include little things like Sharpies and markers and bits and bobs. That thing just kept sticking to everything. I was getting really annoyed. I wanted that loose book, but it just didn't make sense. Yeah, here I'm just kind of setting up like a little notes area like he was studying. One thing I'm discovering is it's hard to make rooms look messy, but like realistically messy, and not messy as in you just threw a bunch of stuff on the floor, like making sure that there's almost like a path. Because I was a messy kid. I'm still a messy adult, but there's always like a path to walk through, and so making sure that like there's a space to get through is definitely important. So yeah, I've got like the action figures for superheroes. I do like a little running trophy. Those little puppets are so cute. So far I've managed to put a backpack in everybody's room, just because if you're in school, you're gonna have one. I like that space under this bed too, because it gives you can put stuff under there, it gives you just a little bit more to go on. And yeah, just mess. I also gave him the records because Rick, oh my gosh, I'm thinking Rick Contre, but Rip has a record player, so I figure he might stash some of his more favorite stuff at his friend's house, just to make sure that it's safe. Like, that's just what makes sense to me. And Johnny's a good friend. He'd be like, yeah, you can keep your stuff here, it's fine. Because, as we all know, the General is not a great parent, so anything that was really important, I feel like Rip would try to kind of keep out of the line of fire. I wanted to put that little Excellence Bunny because in The Sims 4, like, good students get it, and so I figured maybe Johnny would have it. Like, it's something that he won. Also, he gets the drone because I finally found a link that worked. Tank did not get his drone. I'm sorry, Tank. I like that little squirt gun. I keep wanting to put it in everybody's room, but Rip had one and it made sense. I give him the bag of goldfish, like, because again, he's like the hero type, and so I had the idea that he may be rescued at a fair. He will get in a nice tank, but he just got it. Just now. Just obtained the goldfish. It's fine. It'll be okay. It amuses me. I also like the little Oasis Springs snow globe. So yeah, now this is just kind of like the assorted clutter pile that I wasn't too, like, set on one way or another. It was just like, you know, just space filler. I put the little alien under his desk just because it amused me. And I put the glasses kind of by the study area, like maybe he needs them to read. Because he could be, what is that? I think that's nearsighted, but I don't know. I can never tell the difference between nearsighted and farsighted. Like, I know that it's, one is you can see farther, one you cannot, but like, I always mix them up. Also, these dominoes, I've been looking for dominoes for weeks. I don't know why, I just really wanted them, and I finally found some, and I'm very happy about it. Also, that little lion toy, because lions are known for bravery. He's supposed to be the hero type. I'm like, I need to have a toy lion. It's necessary. Also, the little dragon. Just like Legos. Again, clutter. I do think I delete that middle floor clutter. I don't feel like that stays. I did give him a void critter as well. I'm obsessed with the void critters. I don't know why more people are not. Like, they should be everywhere. Did I delete the lion? I think I just deleted the lion. Maybe I thought that I needed to have the lion and I kept the bear. Lying to you folks here. Lying about the lion. Alright, so I just want to point out there is no railing there. They do not care about safety. And here is the final room. You can see I missed some OMSPs. I didn't recolor those. I'll do it in a minute, but I just wanted to kind of show you the room. All the different like boy band posters that I put up. I put up that flying pig one just because it made me laugh. The Henry Puffer posters. I did my best not to cover every single wall, but kind of failed. And yeah. I also put the Breakfast Club just because I feel like he is a popular kid. He probably would be into things like that just because everybody else was. And I do leave the floor clutter. Look at me lying. Oh, and the shield. The shield. Because again, White Knight complex. And you can't really see it, but there's a bulletin board with a sports car on it, and that was literally the best that I could do. It's kind of by his computer desk, but it's hard to see. His room is just so, like, squishy. In a good way, I think. But yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think of his room, if you think I nailed it or not. And give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.